welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be making some rainbow cards with this month's Spellbinders Clubs, and the theme for this month is a kind of arty, colourful theme, so I thought that'd be really nice to make rainbow cards with. So we're going to be using a few different clubs, which I'll show you as we go through. So the first one that we're going to use is this Glimmer of the Month club. And you've got this cool, like, arty, splodgy type plate, which I think is so nice for backgrounds. So we're going to make a really simple card with that. And we're not going to use these sentiments just now, although we will on one of the other cards. But you've got, you are perfectly imperfect, you make life colourful, and make a splash on your birthday. And you also get this gorgeous rainbow foil in the kit, which we're going to use. So I'm going to use a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card blank, and so I've cut a mat for that at 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and we're going to hot foil this onto here. This foil is the mini rainbow stripe, by the way. So I'm going to cut a piece of foil to fit my plate. So then I'm going to lay this on here, and I'm going to lay this over it. And then I'm going to use some of the Spellbinders Best Tape Ever to secure that down. So then I've heated up my glimmer machine, and then I'm going to pop this plate down on there and press the timer button. And when that stops flashing, we can put it through our machine. So then I can add the plates that come with the system onto here and then just pop it through my die cutting machine. So then we can just remove the plate and see what we're left with. So look, this looks really beautiful with all that rainbow shine. So then I've decided to actually go for this blue card base. So I'm going to glue on my panel. And then I've used this, a little hello sentiment stamp and die set. So you get the 3 layers of the hello, and you get this little stamp set that's got a little how are you, miss you lots, wanted to say my dear friend from me to you and sending you a happy. And then it's got the die to cut those out as well. So you can stamp them all at once. It's one big stamp and cut them all out at once. So I've got this one left from last time I used this, where I've just heat embossed in white onto the blue cardstock. So I'm going to have hello, how are you? So I've cut the hello in white, pink and blue. So let's glue those together. So then I'm going to pop my sentiment and my sub-sentiment up on foam pads. So that's a really nice, quick and simple, colourful card. And look how shiny it is. Love that rainbow foil. So then for my second card, we're going to use the Stitch Die of the Month. And that's this really lovely paint palette. So you get the outline die for the palette. You get this piece which embosses the paint pieces into the palette. Then you get this piece which fits into here. And then these pieces fit into here. So you've got a plain one in case you don't want to stitch, and you've got this one in case you do want to stitch. So you can cut those out for each of the paint pieces. Then you get the paintbrush. So you've got the paintbrush, you've got the bit that goes on the end of the brush. This bit fits in here, and again you've got a choice of sewing or not. And then this bit fits on the end. So I've cut out all my pieces. I've made a blue card blank, and I've cut that to 1/4 inch bigger than my paint palette, so that the paint palette takes up most of the front of the card. And then I've cut this piece in white as well. You could obviously cut those in different colours. And then I've sewn a lot of these, but I've left one to show you how to do it in case you're not sure. So I'm going to show you how with the red. So we're going to go up the middle of the red palette, and then I'm going to take that down at the back. So then I'm going to sew up the middle and then out to each of the outside holes in turn. And then I'm just going to secure it behind with some tape again. And it's as simple as that. It literally doesn't take more than a couple of minutes. So then this piece for the end of the paintbrush is done in the exact same way, going up the middle and out to each one in turn. I'm using 2 strands of thread for each of these today, by the way. And then I'm going to use some gold for the paintbrush. And again, I'm going to seal it on the back with some tape, and then I'm going to come up here. And then these ones are really long stitches, so you want to go along and through the bottom here. And on the stitching die, Spellbinders always puts an embossed guide on, so you can see exactly where the stitches are supposed to go. There's like lines where the stitches go. So we're literally just going up and down. And then I'm just going to secure it again at the back. So then this small piece is done in the exact same way, but obviously with much shorter stitches. So I'm going to add all these pieces onto my brush. And I'm just going to use my sticky specs for some of the pieces, because I find that because it's a dry adhesive, it tends to hold some of the shinier elements better. So then I can put my card together. So I'm going to glue my palette to my card first. Then I add on my paints. So then I'm going to glue this piece on. And then I'm going to glue on my paintbrush. And then I hot foiled one of the sentiments from the hot foil set. It says make a splash on your birthday. And then I'm going to pop a foam strip behind that. And then I'm going to pop that down here. So then there's that card done. So then for my final card for today, I'm first going to use this Colourful Bold Splatters BETTERPRESS set. And you've got all the splashes, and then you've got Let Your Colours Shine, Our Love Is Art, You Colour Me Happy, and Have a Colourful Birthday. And then you've got a rectangle die as well for your sentiments. So this is one of those lovely sets where you get a guide as to where to put your plates, and that's so that they can line up in the right places even when you're using multiple press plates. So I'm going to grab my BETTERPRESS. I'm just going to tape this piece to the clear plate. I'm going to do that with a rolled up piece of Best Ever Craft tape, so that I don't need tape on any of the edges. So then I'm going to tape this template onto here, and I'm going to hold that down with a bit of tape as well, so it doesn't slip between putting different plates in. So then you can see we've got 4 different coloured outlines on this, and so you use the colours all together. So I'm going to start with this green colour, so that's this piece here, and then this piece down here. So I'm going to be using fresh dye inks for mine from Altenew. So I've got Alpine Aster, Eucalyptus, Blush Rose and Amber Blaze. So I'll start with the Eucalyptus for this one. So I like to put the ink on by rubbing it on like this, and then just kind of pat a little bit over it just to even it out a little bit, because sometimes when you turn it like that it leaves a bit of a pattern. And then I'm going to pop that through my die cutting machine. So then we've got our first stage of splatters. So then I'm going to grab these ones that are outlined in blue, and I'm going to do them in this Amber Blaze. So I can put this back over, pop it through my die cutting machine, and then you can see there's a second phase. So then I'm going to do the ones outlined in pink. I'm going to use the blush rose on those. So let's put that one through. And it's starting to look really splattery now. And then for the final layer, we've just got this big one that goes in the middle on the black outline. And then I'm going to use the Alpine Aster for that. And then we'll pop that through. So that's that all layered up, and I think that looks really fun. And you could just kind of layer that up and add a statement sentiment like we did on the first card. But on this one I want to make a bit more of a feature, so I'm going to add this clear stamp of the month. And if you get the clear stamp and die of the month, you get the coordinating dies, so that cuts that out. And then you've got one to cut out the hello, one to cut out the for you, and then a rectangle to cut out these smaller sentiments. So then I'm going to stamp this in embossing ink and heat emboss it in gold. So that's really lovely. So then I'm going to colour that with my Karin markers. So then I've coloured this and cut it out with the coordinating die. Then I've got a sage green card blank, 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I've cut this down to 1/2 inch smaller than that, and then I've got this piece of gold that's just 1/8 of an inch bigger than the white piece. So then I'm going to use this for you and on your birthday. I'm going to heat emboss those in gold onto this sage cardstock. So I'm stamping that in embossing ink. Then I can use the coordinating dies to cut these out. So then I've used one of these essential arches dies to cut an arch from vellum, and you can see, and that's because if I put this on here, this doesn't stand out very nicely. If I put a bit of vellum behind it, then it stands out much better. So the vellum has the same arch as this, that's good, but the bottom is a bit longer, so I'm just going to trim off that bottom bit. So then I'm going to pop some sticky specks on that, and then I'm going to add my arch on the back. So then I'm going to pop this up on some foam strips. Obviously I don't want the foam strips to show through the vellum, so I'm just adding them where there's some cardstock. Then actually before I put that on, I'm going to layer these pieces up. So then I'm going to add this onto here. So then I'm going to glue on my sentiments. I'm just gluing that across that bottom edge. And then I'm going to add this on your birthday on with foam strips. So then there's that card finished. So then there we've got all 3 of our fun rainbow cards for today. You might have noticed I added a little butterfly to this, and that's from the Summer Days Butterflies dimensional stickers pack. There were originally 7 butterflies. Please do let me know in the comments which is your favourite. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below. You can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got new videos available. All of the products that I've used for today's cards are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.